About today? Well, for a lot of reasons. I am going to share about some upcoming events in the next week and a half and about what God is doing and just a little bit about what He is teaching me. But then I get to bring on a dear friend of mine who is going to be speaking this year at the Known Women's Conference, and it is going to be a treat. So, without further ado, we're just jumping right in. I'm going to share what God's teaching me because I am getting ready to jump into a surgery again. I know it feels like deja vu, like happening again, but through that, God really brought the mission of what known is to me, and to create an experience of fellowship, worship, and learning where women experience the joy of being known by God and others through conversation and community. There's a lot of conversations in communities that's going to happen after this surgery because I am stuck for a while at my house, and I have the privilege of seeing my community come to life and be in it with me. And so I'm super grateful for that. In Hebrews, it says, and let us consider how we may spur one another on toward good deeds and not giving up meeting together, as some of you are in the habit of doing, but encourage one another all the more as you see a day approaching. So let's do that. Let's get together. Let's have some fellowship. Let's enjoy community together. And one of the ways that we can do that is through Gather, Pray, and Go. We're going to have a worship time this year, a prayer time, and just a connection time. And we're going to be at Celebration Lutheran School, and in the gym there, we are going to create a space. We were so blessed to be at Seth's Coffee, but we've outgrown that, and super grateful for Serena and her team that are welcoming us to be able to just have some great fellowship, some great time of community and connection. So next week, Wednesday, 5 to 7 at Celebration Lutheran, my favorite event. There's also going to be silent auction baskets, but the main purpose of this is to raise money for ladies that have gone through the horrific sex trafficking, and we want to walk alongside them in their journey and be able to invite them to come to the Known Women's Conference. Bingo is back. We are going to do bingo on Monday, April 27th at 5:30. Get your registrations in by this Monday, because otherwise you won't get Chick-fil-A. You'll only get to play bingo. So we have to get that a week before. So get your bingo bundles in and sign up today. Last but not least, we have 33 signed up for this, but we're hoping for 50. So we're hoping that a few more ladies will join us in Wausau. So if you're in the Wausau area, we would love to invite you to come to Letting Go of Control. I don't know about you, but that is something that's speaking to me. Letting go of control is not always my first thing that I do, but yes, I am excited for this night. Sarah and I will be sharing a message that we wrote separately and now coming together to share together. And God's just doing some really cool things with that. And last but not least, you're invited to this really cool conference, October 16th and 17th. We're really excited about what God is doing through the Known Women's Conference. Susie Larson is one of our keynotes. We have Tara Lind, Galen Fords, and Courtney Corrente that are all going to be speaking as well. But Susie's going to pack the house, you guys. So if you haven't got your ticket, get your ticket. Also, volunteer registration is going to go up next in May. So that'll be an opportunity to volunteer and get your ticket for free. So that's a lot of events coming up, and we are just excited about what God is doing. I'm just honored and, to be along for the ride. I am excited about what He has been faithful in, and hope that we can just continue to be faithful in what He's calling us to. So with that, I'm going to invite my dear friend and speaker, Serena Rendazzo, to come and share a little bit about her journey and a little bit about who she is because I didn't get to know her, but you guys don't all know her yet. So I'm super excited to invite you. So welcome, Serena.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So tell us who you are and a couple of fun facts about yourself.
All right. So, yes, Serena, I am, as many of us are, women of faith. I've been a daughter of the King my entire life. I was raised in the church, and I'm so grateful for all that. I am a wife and a mother, and I've been an educator for the last 10 years. I serve as a principal at a local elementary school. Just I don't know, doing life every day, taking on new titles as he gives them to me. Never equipped for them, but always ready. So yeah, just always excited about those things. Some fun facts. It's just as preparing for this, it's always interesting because I'm like, I'm talking to Joy. Like, how do I tell her a fun fact about someone I've known since I was 13? Um, but something I've realized as people get to know me, and they'll say like I'm sharing something with them, they're like, why am I just finding this out? One of which is being after I graduated college, I was a Peace Corps volunteer, so fulfilling that up until that point lifelong um, goal of mine. And it really started, my mom was a Peace Corps volunteer, which is how my parents met. So it's been a part of my family's story for forever. So after I graduated college, I was a Peace Corps volunteer. I got to serve in the Philippines for a couple of years as a English teacher and remedial reader, reading teacher, and it was just really exciting to get to do that. Um, I grew up doing sports. I'm really love to do kind of any new adventure. I'm a love to travel. I love to take on new things, which is maybe why I'm accepting the encouraging or the exciting opportunity of being able to speak at Known, because it's nothing but terrifying now that I took a minute to think about it. But overall, yeah, just taking on, like I said, all the new titles that God blesses me with. So, fun fact is just, if you're looking for an adventure partner, you'll find it in me. So,
Oh, I love that. I love that. Yes, we have done a lot of adventures together. Like you said, we've known each other since we were 13.
mhm.
God had brought us together, and I don't even remember if I told you we were going to be friends. Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Vaughn told you, like, yeah, you're going to be friends with
It
me.
was pretty obvious though. I mean, you would have told me, but I mean, it took me 30 seconds to know, like, yeah, I think you're right. I think you're onto something.
Uh, and we've done a lot of adventures together, and I'm really grateful for that. So, we'll have to share some of those adventures again. Now that we have kids, it changes things. You know,
Yeah.
there's new adventures that we're on with our families, but just honored and privileged to be able to continue to do life with you. So, tell us what God is teaching you. I know that this is a loaded question. You can always find lots of things that He is teaching us, but tell
Yeah.
us what He's teaching you.
Yeah, so I would agree. I think at what moment in the day is God teaching me something new? But I think the most recent, and I guess the season that I'm in right now, and I wrote recently for the Known conference, the blog. My most recent blog post was really about this season that God is being blessing me in, and yet really challenging me in, which really all surrounded by the like calls and privileges that God's giving us and blesses us with, while also understanding like how can both be true, where I'm being blessed and I see people coming to Christ, and I see students at my school, and I see my children, and all realizing God and worshiping, with out extended hands, and I just see him moving. And yet why in my heart do I feel this heaviness and this weight, or this feeling of isolation, or imposter syndrome most commonly? How can both be true at the same time? And holding both truths is the reality of like our human experience, and saying like, I know the God that I serve, and I know scripturally what he tells me I am, who he tells me I am, and what the qualities that he has given to me and instilled within me. And I'm human. So I have realized and understood that as God sees fruit from all of the work that he's doing in and through me, like that target on my back gets wider and wider, and Satan is not sitting idly by. just being like, oh, okay, cool. They're the impact that she's having is great for the kingdom. Like, all right, I guess I'll try someone else. It's like, no, I got to shut that down immediately. And so I think that's the season, and that's what God's teaching me. And He's taught me that before, and then I'm fine, and then I get back, like, as I'm sure we can all attest to. We all have those experiences that God has to teach us the same lesson over and over again. Um, that's, I think, the season that I'm in right now, is understanding how God is so strong and so purposeful in His decision and His will for my life, and the fruit that He chooses to bear with when I say yes,
Mhm.
and in obedience choose to live out the things that He's gifting me. But in the same time and in the same moments, Satan is actively trying to act against it, and actively trying to break those things down, and any little tiny little seed of isolation or shame or guilt that I may feel because I'm human, he tries to expound, and that makes that the narrative of the story, which is so not true. And it's the glory of God through me, and that's what he's trying to dim. And so I can actively choose to fight against that with God's power through me, or I can choose to succumb to it. And it's an everyday battle. But I think that's most commonly like the theme of what God's teaching me.
Well, there's so many nuggets in there, right? Like there's so many layers, like
Mm-hmm.
because we're all walking those things of those paths that he's calling us to, but it's hard to say yes to. And you're
Mm-hmm.
like, I see the fruit and I see all of the extra, like you said, the target getting bigger. Like, do I
Yeah.
want to keep doing this, God? Like, are you sure that you asked me to do this, God?
Mm-hmm.
Uh yeah, it's just a journey that we're all on, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful that he's teaching you so that he can also teach others through you. One of the things that I read this morning from Susie Larson is like the ripple effect, that
Mm-hmm.
how God uses our pain and our suffering to also be there and to be a rope for somebody else. Like, and it was just like, oh, okay, okay, God, like just that reminder of like, how are we stewarding the gifts and resources that he has given us to be able to be a resource for somebody else? So, yeah.
That's so true. And with pain, it's so again, it's one of those things of it's so easy for us to say, well, this painful experience can either become this shame that
Mm,
I say is like this spot that I don't want to share with people, or we can choose to shed light on it and say, like, this is how God redeemed this. This is how God chose to use my pain or my trauma to help support someone else that they the hardest part, and which I love about Known, and we'll get into this too as I talk about why I love Known, is the fellowship and the community that it creates. Because more than anything else, Satan wants isolation. He wants to divide you and to separate you and to destroy that. And so, all the opportunities for community and fellowship, for us to lean in to say, you're not alone in that. You don't have to walk this alone. There's no shame in saying this tough thing happened or I experienced this tough thing. You're not alone. And here's why. There's a community of people that want to surround you. Satan hates that, and I kind of love that he does because I love it. So yeah,
oh, it's so. I mean, we could talk for days, right?
yeah,
Where people are like, oh, they're just having their own little
yeah.
conversation
Sorry.
here, and I love it. They're here for it. But I just started writing again, and the whole book that God has
Mm,
given me is on community, and it's fellowship and relationship and what that looks like, and it's like it is so amazing because that is what the devil doesn't want us to do. It doesn't. He wants you to feel lonely and isolated, and like that's his way of, and that is why we're so excited about the Known Conference,
yeah.
because that's our mission. That's our hope, is fellowship and community and
Mhm.
relationships and conversations. So
Yeah.
tell us, you've been a part of the Known family, but tell us why you're excited to be speaking and be a part of this.
Yeah. So just saying speaking, instantly my hands start sweating. So excited, but yeah, I think the fellowship, the community of it all, I was able to attend virtually last year, and then since kind of discussing more of the opportunities to take a more in-person role this upcoming fall, I've been able to really invest more in the community aspect of it. And so being able to, physically be present for an event or see and follow things virtually. I love that. I think I would say I'm a extroverted introvert, if that makes sense. It's like I love community, I love fellowship, and yet I need to recharge alone. And so having so many different avenues, and I think that's what speaks to both my educator perspective of like there isn't just one way for fellowship, there isn't just one way to learn, is that there's so many different avenues for people to connect with one another, to get the support that they need. I think Known and all of its staff have done an incredible job at being able to utilize and improve every year, to continue to get the feedback of how do we connect women and this common experience that so much of us are going through and walking through, while also creating enough avenues to understand that there's so much diversity also. So I think that's what I really love about being a part of the community in more depth this year, is just getting to know all those different facets.
Yeah. It's funny. Yesterday we were sharing with one of our potential donors, and I was like, okay, how do I like explain? Like, there's a lot of different things that are happening. We have, the Known in-person gathering that has 600 ladies, but there's 1,000 women online that are
Mm-hmm.
watching and being able to take that content in. And now we've done these hybrid hometowns, which are like we're going in person, but also doing the virtual thing. And it's like, and then we do Known communities all throughout the year. And then it's just like,
Yep.
oh, okay, like, but
Mm-hmm.
it just naturally grew because people wanted it, and
Mm-hmm.
it's so cool. The opportunities, even bingo. I know I say bingo a lot, but I did not think that people would show up for bingo. Like, I did not think that that was a
Love
thing,
bingo.
and people love bingo. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a really cool thing for the whole family to be able to
Mm-hmm.
come and gather together, and raise support for that as well. So,
Mm-hmm. Love it.
um, tell us about a project that you're working on right now.
Other than myself. Um, so yeah, I think I am, because I'm just crazy and love new adventures. Our school is going through accreditation right now. So the big project has been school and career and expressing all the great things that are happening with that at our school, and then also ways to improve in the next, 5 or so years. So I'd say as that's wrapping up, that visit is next week, so pray for us. So that'll be going through next week. But then the following week, I start grad school. So it's like I finish this, year-long project. Why not start something else? Which I'm so excited about. I really love learning, and I think I'm a better student now in my 30s than I was in my, late teens, early 20s.
Yeah,
Um, so even the idea of being able to go back to school and to continue that, to learn new things, I just approach it so differently. So that project in and of itself is kind of where my focus is.
that's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't know that fun fact. So that's
Yes.
new thing for me. It's so great. So definitely been praying for the accreditation process. Oof, it's a big undertaking and a lot of work, and so praying for you and your team and all of that. So, last but not least, I would love for you to share what you're going to be sharing on at the conference. You don't have to share your whole message,
Yeah.
but just a short little snippet of what you're going to be sharing on.
Yeah. So one of the great adventures that God's blessed me with, that I never would have seen coming, was being able to be blessed by the opportunity to be part of a blended family. So I didn't have that experience as a child. I didn't really have anyone in my extended family that experienced that, or many people within my friends group. So in my adulthood, having now met my husband and going through that process, um, I was very naive. And so being able to share this fall a little bit about that experience and what I've learned in now the 6 years we've been married. We have three adult, it's weird to call them adults, but they are technically, kiddos, and then we have two younger. So really what it means to be part, instantly to be a part of a family, taking vows with my husband. We also I took vows with our kids. They're also our older kids. So understanding a little bit of what the blended family experience has been, marrying into that, as well as now creating two more that, round out my starting five, which I always wanted, being a basketball player. So that's always really exciting to have that. Um, but it came with a lot of peaks and valleys. It came with, and sometimes more seasons of valleys, and not being able to really find resources or because I'm within my own community of fellowship, I didn't have anyone who had experienced it, so I really didn't have much personally, connection to people who had gone through it. I'm really excited to share in the fall what my experience is, understanding it's only one little small sliver, one small chapter of someone else's potential stories, but I'm hoping that there are threads in there that people can connect with. But understanding that the human experience is so dynamic and it's so exciting because you may think that you have just two very different experiences and then you come together and share it, but the emotions are very much the same. And so, again, that connection, that fellowship with one another, I'm so looking forward to being able just to share a little bit of the difficult moments, what's God, what God has redeemed, what God is going to redeem, what we have faith that He will, as well as like the really amazing bright spots too. And that there's excitement there, that we can all connect around the human experience and acknowledge that we're here to support one another, and have fellowship around those types of things that sometimes seem taboo to talk about, when it comes to divorce or different other avenues and how someone might find them, that experience to be part of their life. There doesn't need to be shame there. And the more shame we feel, as we talked about, the more shame we feel, the more isolation we feel, the happier that makes the devil. And I don't want to be a part of that. So it's really exciting to get to be a part of that.
Well, ladies, you're going to want to be there. So get your ticket today. We are so excited to be with you in person, or virtual, whatever works for you. I know schedules are busy, life is crazy, but we would love to have you join the Known Women's Conference. So thanks for being with us today. We hope to see you at one of the events this next week. Bye, everybody.